Hello and welcome to my F1 25 driver career mode here today for part 23 for the Canadian Grand Prix and round 5 of the 2026 Formula 1 season. So we come into the qualifying now, into the final chicane for the first time, and we get to the line, two personal best sectors on our first run, and we cross the line on that lap. He's coming to pit as P21. That is shocking. We went again though, this is our final run at the end of the lap, end of qualifying, and we locked up at the hairpin, losing us a bit of time, and we were nearly overtaken there by the apex of Piers, who is now drag racing us and trying to ruin our lap and try and overtake us into the final chicane. He backs out of it, but it's going to cost us time. Racing into that final chicane with around 4 attempts though, and we're going to start P16. So this is the grid ahead of the Canadian Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri is on pole, Joshua Piers P2, ruining our lap, which also cost his putting in P2. Then it's Sonny Hayes and Lewis Hamilton, Liam Lawson and George Russell, Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Both of the Williams round out the top 10, Sainz ahead of Albon, Prince Hulkenberg and Lance Stroll. Tsunoda and our teammate Jacques Villeneuve, Charles Leclerc is 15th, we're alongside him in 16th, then it's Ocon and Kimi Antonelli, Jack Doohan and Behrman, Bortoletto and Pierre Gasly are on the final row of the grid. So this is it then as the cars make their way onto the grid ahead of the Grand Prix at the end of the formation lap. It's looking like a one-stopper is the quickest way today, but there is rain expected towards the end of the Grand Prix. So is anyone going to be hanging on and waiting for the rain as the 5 lights come on now? They're out after a very long hold, and we are racing, trying to get Charles Leclerc towards turn 1. And now we're going to go late to the inside. We're at the inside of the Ferrari, getting the job done there. Now trying to go round the outside of the Aston Martin. Can we get the traction? No, we can't. We have to correct the oversteer. Now going into second chicane on the lap, we get the job done there on the Aston Martin. Have a little slide, we get the job done there. Next up the road is the Red Bull of Yuki Tsunoda, who we're going to send late at the inside and take the place from the Red Bull there. I don't like, I'm not going to enjoy that one, but we are ahead. And now we're right behind our teammate at his home Grand Prix here today. We're going to go late though on the brakes into the hairpin, up the inside, and we try and hold it around the outside. We're showing the door and he backs out of it, and we do take that place from our teammate. Up the road next is the Williams of Albon. We're on the verges of the top 10 as we go extremely late on the brakes, up the inside again at the hairpin. Albon tries to hold it around the outside, but he can't get the traction, and we take that place from the Williams. And up next is Hulkenberg, trying to get Sauber's first points this season in P10, and he's still going to be trying. It's nearly getting at the inside there. Heading into the final corner, it's been a great opening couple of laps for us, but we skip on now to the end of lap 3. We're stuck with the Sauber, and now we head towards the final chicane. We're getting closer, we're going for a lunge, we're getting the job done on Hulkenberg, and we're breaking back into the top 10. It's been a good start after disappointing qualifying, not as bad as it was last time out in Spain, as now Hulkenberg is being done by Villeneuve at the inside, and it's job done. He has a little moment though. Hulkenberg still trying to hold it around the outside. Can he keep him behind? Yes he can. That little oversteer and correction has cost Villeneuve there the move, and we were flying on these medium tyres. We're caught at the back of the Mercedes of George Russell, and we're having him now around the outside. We're past the Mercedes, and up the road next is Max Verstappen, but George is coming back at us. It's taken him a couple of extra laps to get close enough, but he had to go into turn 1 there, but we fend him off for now. So as we skip on now towards the end of lap 7, this is Lawson going for a move on Max Verstappen after replacing him at Red Bull, and he backed out of that one. Max doing a great job of holding it around the outside, but now towards that final corner, can Lawson get the job done as we come under pressure from George Russell once again, and this time he has got us as the tyres were starting to scream here at the end of lap 7, at the end of lap 8 in this race. And it's job done there by George, as now Albon's overtaken Hulkenberg, and now Albon has got this going into the final chicane and keep it pinned. So round the outside was sideways out past the wall of champions, and that's going to allow Albon to get past us there in towards turn 1, but we're going back down the inside of him, and now we keep the place from him, and he's coming under pressure from Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, but the Ferrari of Leclerc had to back out of that one. As now further back, this is Lance Stroll retiring from his home Grand Prix. The Mercedes engine in the back of that Aston Martin has gone, and he is on the sidelines watching now his home Grand Prix as we come under pressure once more from Albon, but this time we're coming into the pits to make our one and only stop of the day if the rain holds on. It doesn't look like there's any threat of rain at the minute, but apparently it is coming at some point in the final stages of this race. But for the meantime, the mediums go off, the hard tyres go on, and now we can hopefully pull a small gap over Albon, as we were hunting down Lawson before the tyres started to go off. And then we fell back into George, and then ultimately into Albon onto lap 13. Now this is Albon who is making his one and only stop of the day, I believe, onto the hard tyres. He's followed our strategy, but now where are we? There we are, heading down the pit straight towards turn 1 and 2, but of course you cut it, but that's not going to matter. We're miles ahead of Albon. Those extra couple of laps he stayed out has cost him, and he's dropped behind Hulkenberg and Ocon there, and that's completely ruined his race. And now we are hunting back down after Liam Lawson, as now he's getting past the Alpine of Jacques Villeneuve, and him struggling to get through these two, not clearing him very quickly, is allowing us to close in even quicker as we get Jacques Villeneuve there as quickly as possible. We're slightly offline, but we do keep him behind there for now. They're on different strategies, they're going longer, and by the end of lap 16, or towards the end of lap 16, Lawson can't find a way past the other Alpine of Gasly, and we are going for a lunge on Lawson, taking that place, our rival this season, after robbing us of that Red Bull seat. And now he is in our mirrors, and now we can get down the road after the Alpine of Gasly. Hopefully we can clear him quickly and now get down the road, but Gasly's going to put right in front of us, and now it is game on. This is Max Verstappen now making his stop and coming out side by side with Lawson right in the middle of our battle with the Red Bull, and he split us. He's ahead of the Red Bull, his Red Bull replacement, and now he's all over the back of us. He's not our race. Fresh tyres to our slightly worn air tyres, and it's going to have us here heading down towards the hairpin. We're going to try hold it to the inside, but Max is going to use his skill and his touch and go right around the outside of us at the hairpin, and he's going to get us down the DRS straight. Fair play. What a move that is. I don't normally like being done round the outside, but A, is not our race, and B, fair play. That was a very, very good overtake. Lap 22 though, the rain that was coming has arrived, and now everyone at the end of lap 22 is into the pits to go onto the Inter. It is coming down very hard, has caught a lot of people out, I think. Also Max, as he's literally just come out of the pits just a couple of laps later, as now Villeneuve's in, the Alpine's in, the Sauber's in, they're all gone into, but Bortoletto has gone onto the hards. They're thinking the shower is only going to be brief. He's going to be so slow, surely. So by the end of lap 23, the rain is getting harder, and it is time for the wet tyres. So we are going to pit the DRS has been enabled, and we're going to be going on to the Inters following. Everyone else, those in the background, are coming as well, referred in by Lawson in the Red Bull, and our tyres are going to go off. The wet Inters are going to go on, and that is pretty much going to take us to the end of this race. This rain isn't meant to move or to celebrate. It may well be. Bortoletto on those hard tyres as now we come into turn 1. We're behind Sainz now. Can we catch him? Who is tucked up behind Antonelli, who is on the dry tyres still. Not sure what Mercedes are doing, and you can see how late we were on the brakes now, and we're all over the back of both of them, as now Sainz is trying to find a way past. Antonelli is just trying to crawl to the pits, and we're going to be extremely late on the brakes. Do a double move on the Williams and on the Mercedes. Lawson's had to completely lift there, and look at the gap we've pulled out to them already, as now Antonelli's done by Sainz and Lawson, as he's just trying to get back to the pits. And now, though, we didn't have much pace on these Inters, and we're coming under pressure from Sainz. He tried to get us there to take this P7 away from us. We were losing about 2 seconds a lap to Max Verstappen in front of us. But up front, it's going to be our first repeat winner of 2026, as Piers wins the Canadian Grand Prix just ahead of Piastri. Lewis Hamilton rolls out the podium, and we are just going to hold off the Williams of Carlos Sainz. It's another top 10 finish, and it's a great P7.
What a performance this has been from Joshua Pearce, who takes the checkered flag to win the race.
Such an important victory at this stage of the season. Any points you can achieve to go towards the table is really going to mean a lot to the team. So well done as they prepare for the end of the season.
Out onto the rostrum, looking down at their team. It is time for the trophies.
So that has been then your Canadian Grand Prix, won by Piers in the Apex, the first repeat winner of the season after he won back in Japan, just beating Oscar Piastri. And then Lewis Hamilton rounds out the podium. Lando Norris was P4, so it's a decent day for McLaren, and Sonny Hayes rounds out the top 5. Good race for us after starting P16 to recover to P7. We lost all pace when the rain came, finishing 29 seconds off Max Verstappen in P6. And then Nico Hulkenberg, finally Sauber have a point as he finishes P10. Down at the back there was one retirement today, that being Lance Stroll at his home Grand Prix. Bortoletto, the final car on the road today, after that very questionable strategy choice when everyone was pitting for Inters, and he went for another set of tries. And this is what it means then in terms of the Drivers' World Championship. And interestingly, the last 3 winners of a race, that's us, Max and now Piers, have all left that race leading the championship. Piers takes the lead by 5 points over Lando Norris. Both of them jumping Max and us. Max down to P3, we're down to P4 as Sonny Hayes rounds out the top 5. And then down at the back there's still multiple drivers still yet to score this season as we reach the halfway point, with Bortoletto still bottom. So in terms of the constructors then, that win for Apex means they move further ahead. McLaren have jumped us into P2, we're now 14 points behind them, with Aston Martin P4 and Ferrari P5, and now it is just Alpine who haven't scored this season. So that's been then your Canadian Grand Prix for 2026. Next time though, we go to my home Grand Prix at Silverstone, where for the first time we'll be racing in reverse. I'll see you then. Goodbye.